So in my last video, I actually talked about how now going on in the Blue Lock story, I feel like a lot more characters are going to be eliminated, and it's not going to be minor characters. It's going to be big characters. And for this character, I wanted to make an entire video just dedicated to him. So if you guys like this type of content, please remember to hit that like and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get right into this. Chigiri Hyoma has probably been a top 3 favorite character of mine for the entirety of Blue Lock. If you guys didn't know, back when I first started Blue Lock, Chigiri was my favorite character up until I'd say the second selection arc. And that's purely because Chigiri is probably the most relatable character early on, you know? He suffered a terrible injury that made him want to quit, you know, took away all of his talent, or that's what he thought. And, you know, that whole moment with him beginning to run again, trusting in his leg, like, that was just a beautiful moment for Chigiri. And I'm going to be honest, that moment made me cry because as a person who suffered the exact same injury as Chigiri, it was an amazing moment. But yeah, enough about me. We're going to talk about the prospect of Chigiri Hyoma eventually getting injured throughout the Blue Lock story. As I'm sure you guys know, this idea has been foreshadowed very well, like actually very well throughout the entire series. We've seen multiple instances of where Chigiri himself even mentions, and a lot of things that say he's basically a ticking time bomb. Chigiri's leg is very useful. You know, his ability of speed, being able to run super quick, and his rate of evolution is super duper useful. But at the end of the day, it's already been stated multiple times that this is a ticking time bomb. And the thing is, we have to really look at what Chigiri added in the recent arc of Blue Lock. What did he add to his game? He added those cuts, those sharp changes of direction, where he goes boom, boom, left, right. Now we have to look at the injury that Chigiri ended up succumbing to, an ACL. So, what I got to with this whole logic, and this is not my whole point for how he's going to get injured or anything, I'm just like hypothesizing right now. I think that him going left, right so much, moving so laterally, and let's say he plays as like a wing back in the U20 World Cup, that's going to put a huge strain on his knee. Like, that's not just going to do anything. And for a knee that's known as a ticking time bomb, quote unquote, that's not good. That's not a good thing, because if you guys know anything about ACL injuries, it's the lateral movement, the quick changes of direction that really mess it up. So I really think that Chigiri is going to be in trouble, and especially in this next arc. If you guys read the Nagi episode, there is a chapter in the Nagi episode where Hiragi, a character in that series, ends up giving Nagi and Chigiri and Baro their own tarot cards. Now, what are tarot cards? Tarot cards are basically used in a whole bunch of stories sometimes. For example, Tokyo Ghoul. The author of Tokyo Ghoul uses these tarot cards as numbers. You know, there's 15, there's 13. And these numbers, they mean different things. And, you know, these meanings, if they're attached to a character, could maybe symbolize or foreshadow what that character could go on to become. So yeah, with Nagi, he ended up getting the 13th tarot card of death. And we know exactly what happened to Nagi in the recent chapter of Blue Lock. He's gone. He's dead. He's out of Blue Lock for good. Now, whether that meant the death of his ego and maybe he'll get the birth of a new one, that's something else. But for Chigiri got the 15th tarot card of the devil. Hiragi then states and tells him that this tarot card represents seduction, betrayal, and ruin. We already know. Betrayal is a big thing in Blue Lock. It is a big thing in Blue Lock, as for, you know, when Kuon was betraying his team. But if you guys remember my last video that I made about Isagi eventually becoming a villain, guys, I think this fits in perfectly to how I think Isagi is going to be the one that eventually, not directly, but indirectly is going to be the one that causes Chigiri's leg to break. Now, hey, relax. I know everyone's in the comments like, what are you even talking about? Why would Isagi do that? Obviously, I'm not talking about the Isagi currently. But we already know when Isagi gets into a game, it's like he goes into his own new mindset. Like he has a whole other persona. And in this persona, he acts like a completely different person, friend or foe. So honestly, guys, I have no clue. But betrayal, I think the most, because this quote, like I said from my last video, this quote from Kaneshiro keeps going in my head where he said something along the lines of, I don't know if you guys will like Isagi by the end of the series, or maybe you love Isagi now, but will you like him towards the end of the series, question mark. So that really puts question marks in my head. So Isagi potentially becoming a villain and betraying Chigiri could actually be a crazy plot twist, and that could play into the betrayal aspect of this tarot card. Now, the next thing that it says is seduction. Now, as we know, seduction could have a whole bunch of different meanings, but the way I interpret it is maybe, we already know seduction could be like attraction, like something like that. Maybe Chigiri in the next arc, or maybe in the coming arcs, whenever this happens, is super attracted to one goal, to which he's gonna sacrifice everything for that one goal. It could be anything. Now remember, this is just a theory, it's all headcanon. But what if he's just attracted to one goal and he's willing to push his body to the ultimate limits to reach that goal? And Isagi is actually the one who needs that goal as well. He also wants to reach that goal. But the thing with Isagi is he ends up backstabbing Chigiri, basically using him as a stepping stone to reach that goal before him. I think that's ultimately what Blue Lock is all about anyways, getting to the goal before everyone else. You need to become the number one striker. Everyone behind you will flip, like they'll all fail. They'll all fall behind you. You know what I'm saying? You need to stand on top of that body of fallen strikers by defeating them. So I think it'll come to a point where Isagi's just going to be so crazy to the point where the only thing that matters is getting his win. That's the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter about if you're friends, if you're a foe, he will use you. He will do whatever he needs to get that win. And I think we've already kind of seen this mentality developing in the NEL, where we've already seen he clicked up with Kaiser last game. Isagi quite literally clicked up with Kaiser for, we already know, Isagi before this game hated Kaiser's guts. He literally cringed at the idea of them teaming up. And now, look, they were such great teammates in the last game. But it turns out Isagi the entire time was just using Kaiser. So I feel like this similar character arc is going to keep going, and it's eventually going to affect Chigiri. And the final thing that Hiragi says in this is ruin. So I feel like we all know this ruin thing is self-explanatory. His ACL tearing again in a way where it's like it's cooked. Like, Chigiri already said if his leg's done one more time, he's done for good. He won't be able to play football ever again. So man, this series is about to turn very heartless very, very soon. And honestly, Chigiri tearing his ACL is going to be a crazy moment in the fandom in Blue Lock. And it's really going to I like the way Kaneshiro is alluding to the fact that the series is going to turn a lot darker. Because I feel like initially that's what it was meant to be. That eerie art style, all the characters drawn with those scary looking eyes. And now I feel like it's mellowed out a little bit. But I feel like we're going to go right back to that feel in the next arc, where Isagi's just going to keep going, diving down, and Chigiri's going to be one of the chopping blocks up next. This injury with Chigiri is going to be a career-ending injury, and honestly, guys, I'm going to be honest. This is just a theory video on what I think could have happened, but man, he is actually on a ticking time bomb. I think all this foreshadowing is not going to go undone. We already seen that Kaneshiro is willing to take this extra step now that he just completely booted out Nagi out of Blue Lock. Nagi's gone. So for me, this is an alarm bell ringing in my head like, okay, Kaneshiro's serious. Everything that he's previously foreshadowed, oh, this guy's going to go out, this guy's going to go out, I believe him. I totally believe him because up till now, the only guy that really got kicked out who was super important was Kunigami, and he ended up coming back. So I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe he'll keep the main set of people all in Blue Lock all the way towards the end, but now it's kind of hard to tell what's going to happen. But yeah, man, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe and share to your friends, whoever likes Blue Lock. I appreciate when I get a whole bunch of new viewers. And yeah, man, I hope you guys all have a great day, and goodbye.